for your brief and precise introduction. So welcome back, everyone. Good evening to most of you, and maybe to a very few of you, good morning. Welcome back to our session. So this is our second session on Yogacara studies. So today is on the eight consciousness and the selflessness of a person. Okay, I hope most of us here who also attended last week's lesson, because what I'm going to do first is want to check on how are we doing on our homework for the first week. All right. Now, don't worry, you're not going to be graded or anything. I just want to see whether we have any questions or whether we have any obstacles or any problem trying to do the practices. So let's go through the list. We have about 5 exercises. Of course, I didn't expect everyone to finish everything every day. So, okay, now number 1 to number 5, okay? Slow down, especially at meals, talk less, reduce multitasking, focus on your breath while doing mundane activities, or do sitting meditation 10 minutes a day. Okay, there are 5 of them. Okay, let's show me by typing in the chat box for among the 5 items, which one that you have done at least once, right? Number them. You say, if you do 1 to 5, just type 1 to 5. Okay, I've done at least once during the past week. Or oh, I've done only meditation, just type in 5. All right. So, but if you've done everything every day, just keep typing 1 to 5, 1 to 1 to 5. Okay. Just kidding. They want to know how everybody's doing. Okay. Someone confess. Right. I think it's a she. Or a he. I don't know. Sorry. And if they forgot the homework, it's fine. Oh, Kenny did 1 to 5. All except 4. Okay. 1 to 4. Oh, welcome, Chris. Yeah. Don't worry. We have chance for you to see the recording sometime later. Okay, 1, 2, and 4. It seems like 1 to 4, 1 to 5, all except 4. Okay. All right. Well, not bad. Most of us could able to done more than half of it. All right. Okay, my next question is, well, for those who haven't got time to do your homework, don't worry. This week, today, we're going to have new homework. And I think it'll be a little bit fun today. So I'll let you know at the end. Okay, among the 5 exercises we tried last week, actually, which one do you think is the hardest? Anyone? Like for those who have done, especially 1 to 5. Number 2, exactly. Number 4, focus on the breath while doing mundane activities. Okay. Number 3, Sharon said number 3, reduce multitasking. Yeah, I understand that. I find it really hard too. You know, even now when I'm talking to you, I will look at 3 screens at the same time. I think this is also called multitasking, but I try to focus. Number 4. Okay. Right. I think, okay, let's talk about a little bit about number 4. I saw some of you like JC, Gui Sheng, or GK, right? You have said number 4, focus on your breath while doing mundane activities. Yeah. What did that mean to you? Why is it difficult? Let's say, I don't know, I simply, if you could, voice out, turn on your mic. Let's say, Jesse, can you share some of your thoughts with us? Just a few words, if you could. Because I saw your name first. Are you here? Oh, okay, you chant mantra. Okay, that's pretty good. How about, let me see, there's another one on the top is Jacqueline. Are you there? If you'd like to share with some of us about why you think number 4 is difficult for you. Oh, so your question is what is mundane activities? Yeah, mundane activities. Good question. For me, mundane activity is something that don't demand so much of our attention. Like something we do, something we can almost do it using our automatic pilot, our autopilot, right? Like I wouldn't say driving, driving near 100% of your attention. I would like, let's say you're walking from your cubicle to your washroom, or you're taking a bus from your place to your work. Yeah. So these are what I call mundane activity that don't require you to pay 100% attention. That you can kind of like put 50% on what you're doing and then free up your mind for half the time. Okay, never mind, yeah, if you cannot. So that's why I want to make sure that if we have understood what we want to do, like focus on your breath while doing mundane activity. For me, when I'm sitting in a bus, let's say, even sometimes when I'm waiting at the traffic light, when I was driving, so I would just take my focus back to my breathing, maybe just for 1 or 2 seconds. I remind myself, now I'm breathing in. And I purposely try to feel my breathing without controlling it, try to feel the air brushing through my nostrils, going to my lung, and then breathe out. Even just one breath at a time. I think that kind of like give me a sense of be present and be more to myself. All right. So that is what I mean by focus on my breath while doing mundane activities. Like let's say if you do our dishes, right? We're washing dishes. Of course, you can pay full attention on the dishes, like what Thich Nhat Hanh had taught us to do. Right, the 一行禅师, they say when you're washing dishes, try to enjoy the washing dishes itself, right? Put 100%. But most of us don't do that, right? At that time, well, instead of putting attention to the plates or the water, we can put attention to our breath. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Just maybe once is enough to bring us back to where we are. Is that clear? Okay, there's a question from Eddie. 无念作意. I'm not quite sure what you mean by 无念作意. Is it something to do with meditation? Okay, I'm just saying that mundane activities here, I am referring to tasks that don't require our full attention. Right, simple as that. So try sometimes, let's say when you're listening, let's say when you want to talk to someone and there's so many things that you know, like let's say you have a long meeting, 2-3 hours at the office. I'm sure you cannot focus like fully for the 2 hours. So take a few seconds, maybe 1 minute, try to step out a little bit, take a deep breath. That is also what we mean by focus on the breath. And that also is a way for me to recharge. Okay? But anyone else want to share your difficulties or your happiness? Let's say someone who has tried to talk less. Let me check. Oh, may I know Lai Hang, Chong Lai Hang, right? Are you here? Are you able to talk in the Zoom?
Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
So you said you have difficulties in talking less? Yeah, why so?
I can't control talk less because everything in my life is very interesting.
Oh my goodness, it's nice, very nice. Okay.
Well,
So
maybe I will try to talk less.
Yeah.
Later.
Well, I mean, if you are creating happiness to people around you, why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What I mean, talk less is the opposite of talking less. Actually, listening more. Listening to what other people have to talk to us, have to tell us, and giving more chance to other people to listen to them. So that is what I mean by talk less. Yeah,
I
but
will
I mean, yeah. Don't worry. I'm sure you are creating happiness for your friends and your family. So keep doing it. But sometimes when they need to talk to you, yeah, just give them your ears. All right. That's what I'm trying to do. All
Okay,
right.
okay,
So
thank you.
I don't want. So next thing I'll talk about is, well, try to at least do some meditation. I know it's hard. Yeah. Giving up 10 minutes of our time staring at the smartphone screen is very hard. And staring at our computer screen is also very hard. But try to do maybe 5 minutes a day, do some meditation. That the practice that we share during the lessons at the end, I think that is very important for us to actually build the habit and then to be more familiar with it. Yeah, I'm sure you see a benefit in just a few times. Okay, so this is the homework for last week. All right, so next week we'll check again and see whether we have done. And I'm sure we have a busy week. Okay, so let's talk about. So today I actually want to talk about the eight consciousness and selflessness, right? So we're talking about selflessness. Actually, it's really it's a very hard concept. It's because we're always thinking about the I, right? I. Let's say this week I received a photo from my friend sharing on Instagram, and he is showing me like the very beautiful photo in this is in Switzerland. I think this is somewhere near, or this is not in Zurich, definitely, but somewhere else, somewhere very beautiful, like the waterfall falling down just right next to the church. I mean, what kind of heaven is this? For me, it's a heaven. Right. So when I look at the photo, I was like, oh my goodness, I hope I am there. I'd rather be, holidaying than sitting in my office preparing my slides for tonight's talk. So that is the thought that I was having. So I'm sure many of us have the same thoughts or same feeling. I mean, look at photos people sharing on Instagram or Facebook, telling us how happy they are, what kind of beautiful places they have been to, right? So look at the photo like, oh, how wonderful, if I could be there instead of stuck in here doing my daily routine, going to the same places, come back to the same place and seeing the same people. So this is why we always think about how we could be doing something else, run away from our daily activities and try to do something more exciting, more interesting. But the word Yogācāra teaching, it tells us that, well, everything, if you remember correctly, last week we talked about everything comes from our connection, right? Connection means that everything comes from our how we see things, right? And we only see the images that comes from our mind, right? When I look at the beautiful picture of this, I can only imagine, myself like slowly walking through the beautiful countryside, enjoying the sight and feeling like, oh, really like in a heaven. But for some other people, maybe who live there every day, maybe for them it becomes such a habit to seeing seeing this scenery. Maybe they don't feel like they're holidaying. Like think about the people, like there are most of them are hotel over there. Think about the people who are working in a hotel, right? The people who are giving service at a hotel, or maybe the pastor or the brother giving the religious service in the church, or because they are there every day. Are they still enjoying as much as we do? Right? Maybe not. Right. So that is what the Yogācāra is telling us, that, well, no matter how beautiful or how we want to be somewhere else, it's always our mind that is making all this difference, right? So it teaches us that rather than seeking to escape from all the unwanted situations, so what we need to do is to examine the way we recognize them. That means that the situations we find hard and difficult, and the way we understand their content, right? How we look at them. I remember when I first started to learn meditation, my teacher always told me that, our mind is a monkey mind, right? He always told me, because every time when I sit down meditation, My mind will be rushing everywhere. I'll be thinking about my work, my school work, and planning for the future. So every time my teacher will give us a lecture at the end, stop your monkey mind, just come back to your breathing. Yeah, that is what I'm saying about. Even now we are sitting here comfortably enjoying the aircon, and we must be thinking how wonderful it is, if I am enjoying the beautiful scenery somewhere in Switzerland, why am I here? So this kind of thing, that is what my teacher always say, yeah, this is the monkey mind and this is what you want to tame. And I really love this comic, that catches the spirit of what you just said, right? Yeah, a patient just had a operation on the head, and the doctor showed him, "Oh, this is your problem. We found this monkey in your mind. That's why you're having so much trouble in life." So I think this is exactly what meditation want to teach us about. And meditation actually comes from the teaching of Yogacara to how to deal with our daily problems, our all kind of things that we don't want to experience in life. So this is the monkey mind, that keeps yelling, keep making noises in our mind, right? Because of this monkey mind, we are not here in the present. Remember, we're not here in the present. What is the purpose of meditation? Come back to the present. What's the purpose of being mindful about our breath from time to time? Is being back to the present, right? So this is why this photo also reminds me very much about what our mind is doing, right? Why dogs are happier than human, the owner, right? Or when you're sitting, let's say you go sitting with a dog, what are you thinking? Right? This guy thinking about the car, the bills that to pay, right? The money, the career that you want to build. But for the dog, as simple as I'm here with my owner, we're having a good time, we're enjoying a good scenery. So it's a very sarcastic way of saying that the more intelligent we become, the more we forget about what we have in the present, right? Even dogs are happier than us. Of course, I'm not saying that we want to become less intelligent, or we want to get rid of the frontal lobe, right? They do all the thinking. No, that's not the case. Is the whole purpose of meditation is to be able to give us a break sometime and to use our mind to come back to what is more important that's right happening in front of us, instead of keep planning for the future. So to break our habitual working habit, yeah, to break the habit that gives us so much suffering in life, right? Because our mind is like a monkey mind. We always plan the future. Why we are planning the future? Because we have so much trouble. In the present life. Like I always want to talk about some of the common challenges that that we are facing. I mean, everyone is facing every day, right? Like first of all, digital challenges. Nowadays we have cyberbullying, we have online privacy, peer pressure. Digital challenges is like when you go online. Sometimes have anyone ever warned you not to put your family photos in Facebook and Instagram, right? Anyone warn you before? Well, me too. I always got that warning from my friends. But for me, I still do. But even when I put my own photo, I try to put mine. I had to remind myself, oh, I don't mind if people copy it and then use the AI to change my face to someone else. So I'm ready to take the risk. But if I want to put other people's faces, I will have to ask for permission. Yeah, you see, I don't know whether we are overreacting to the privacy thing online, but sometimes people do get harassed because of this, right? So this is a kind of give us some stress as well when we are dealing, especially when we want to use the social media for our work and we want to get in touch with friends. So these are some of the things that we will consider and become a pressure for ourselves. Well, what else? Like family pressure, right? Like the guy in the photo just now, thinking about income, relationship, education. If you have kids, you can imagine you're not living for yourself anymore. You're living actually for the kids. Everything is around the kids, right? I know because I always go out with some of my friends who have kids, who are about 3 to 5 years old. There was a very demanding time from children, yeah, and all 100%. So I hardly had any, I mean, long conversation or meaningful conversation with my friends. Every time we talk for two sentences, my friend will yell, "Quiet, shut up!" To the young kid that they were playing around and who were making so much noise. So yeah, so this is also another pressure when we have, especially from our family, and of course self-expression. Nowadays we have to be more, true to ourselves, right? About our identity, about sexuality, cultural, and racial identity. I think Buddhism, in this sense, is that we are more open to different kind of, especially sexual identity. Yeah, because in Buddhism, we never actually has any bias towards people from different sexuality. As long as you learn how to be calm, you want to learn meditation. So everyone is welcome. But self-expression in a society is not so, because we are so used to categorize ourselves and other people into a fixed category, either you're a boy or a girl from the time you're born, right? So if you're somewhere go in the middle, so you had a very hard time. I mean, for most people in Asia, that might be the entire life. You could have faced a lot of pressure from surroundings. So self-expression is also another pressure. Physical changes, right? Self-consciousness, the body changes, the sickness that we are facing. Like for me, I used to say that, well, I'm still young, no, I'm only 40 something. I still thought that I'm still physically like same as 20 years ago. But so yesterday I went out for a little bit of jogging, and then I went to do some more physical workout. And at the end of the day, I got a heat stroke. Can you believe that? I don't know where I caught that, but I just went out for exercise for half an hour and I got heat stroke. I was like, when I was young, we were playing basketball under the sun from 12 to 4 p.m. and it was still fine, right? Nowadays, I just went out for half an hour. I feel like, oh, actually, I'm still having a bit of fever now. Right? I just took the Panadol before I started the course. So yeah, so these are the changes of a body that we have to accept, right? Because in Buddhism, we say that nothing stays permanent, even though we think it's permanent, yeah, but it's changing very, very quickly. Of course, what else? The change that we are facing, our career, like how to achieve success, social challenges, how to not feel socially awkward, how to fit in, attention. Yeah, attention is a big thing. How to stay focused on one task at a time. That's why we did a practice last week, trying not to do so much multitasking. And it's actually a challenge. I used to heard about a course being taught by a very famous meditator in America. You know what the course is about? It's a 1 full day course. The course is about how not to do anything in one day. Exactly. The title is what they do. They went to the lecture hall. Everybody sits there the whole day, and he has to lecture you how not to do anything. And now everybody just sit, don't look at the paper, and then put away your cell phones, right? Not even planning anything. Now just close your eyes, or you open your eyes, just sit there, and he has to actually lecture them. And people pay money for that. Can you believe it? People pay money to learn how not to do anything. So this has become a way, this has become a way that we want to learn, something we want to learn. Of course, memory. We want to improve our memory. When we study, when we work, we want to increase to increase our memory to be better, handle our work. So we always think that only if I have more time, only if I have more energy, I can learn more, I can earn more for my family, right? So you want to know how to do it. We want to know how to improve memory. We want to know how to increase our attention. We want to know how to attract more friends into our social group so that our business will grow. So it's how. You don't believe me? You just go to a bookstore, like a bookstore. You look at all the bestsellers that you put at the front, especially at the public bookstore. Every book is telling us how to do this, how to do that. So it tells us that what we want is actually how to do better in life, right? So it's about how and how. Okay, so but the question that we want to ask ourselves in learning Yogacara, especially in Yogacara Buddhism, is actually what, right? What am I in reality? There are three questions we ask actually in different stages of life. The first thing is what, why, and how. I take my niece for an example. When my niece was about 2 to 3 years old, the questions he asked most of the time was, "What is that, Jiu?" Right? She will pointing at something and ask me, "Keep on, what is it? What is that?" Right? So the what always come to the mind. You want to know about themselves and about the surrounding, right? So, and when they get a bit older, to think, oh, why is this? You know, about 5 or 6 year old, why do I have to go to school? You know, why do mom and dad didn't talk for 2 days? Why? Why are you not buying me candy anymore? Why? So they want to find out why. And later when they go to school, right, they start to learn how to write, how to draw, how to speak different languages. So the question now is become how. So this is exactly the process that we have gone through from our childhood to adulthood. So we almost forgetting that we used to be so curious about what is this, what is that, what am I? You know, when we were a kid, you know that from the psychology point of view, a child, I think before 4 or 5 years old, or maybe not too old, 3 to 4 years old. I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna double check on that. The children before 3 to 4 years old, they couldn't tell themselves apart from their parents. I think I read somewhere from psychology book. Yeah, they're saying that they always think that they themselves is part of the mother or the father. They don't have the sense of I, right? They look at the mirror, they were like, oh, they don't know whether the reflection is the same reflection. They thought it's someone else, right? So because they don't know, they do not yet have the sense of I in them. So that tells a lot of our psychological making. We are not born to know about ourselves and the surrounding. We were born to be one with the surrounding, people around us. And then slowly we pick up signals and teachings from people around us, and we start to know, oh, this is me, this is mine, this is them, this is theirs. So this is something that we learn through our bringing up, right? So learning Yogacara, I think the first question we always ask is, we want to go back to the very first question that we ask ourselves: what am I in reality, right? So this is what do you see? What we want to talk about today? The I is actually, what is the I? Right? Because we don't know the I, and these are problems of the digital era. We have a problem with relationship and distraction. That's why we want to talk about the eight consciousness. All right. It's very interesting is that in the Yogacara system, when we talk about I, right, a person, myself, having a body and a mind, we know that, well, there's a difference between the body and the mind, right? The body does all the job, and the mind does all the thinking. Simple, right? But in Yogacara, we talk about even the mind itself, it can be subdivided into 8 different parts. So each one is called a consciousness. Conscious means to know, right? Something that make us know what's happening around us. So it is subdivided into 8 consciousness. Okay, for the most outskirt, like the most obvious of it is the five sensory consciousness, right? The eye, the nose, the tongue, the ears, and our body. So these are the five sensory consciousness that is also part of the mind, right? Because the eye is not just an organ, it has something, a part of the mind, the consciousness that accept and receive the information and let us analyze them. So this the first five actually belongs to the most obvious one that we get in touch all the time, right? So let me show you a little gadget. So this is Bodhidharma. It's a little souvenir I bought back from Hong Kong, actually. Okay, let's say this is ourselves, right? The Bodhidharma. I like this. Mr. Bodhi represent ourselves. So Mr. Bodhi, he has eyes, he has a nose, mouth, right? The tongue, the ears, of course, you couldn't see, and the body. So these are the five consciousness that we see all the time. Anyone having a face, having a body. So this is the five consciousness. Okay, what Yogācāra says is this, but within this body, actually there's more. So what is the next one? Next one is called a sixth consciousness, right? Number 6. So it's inside the sixth consciousness is called ideation consciousness, right? Or the mind consciousness. I will show you afterwards. It's called the mind consciousness because this is the one that does all the thinking. Okay, well, what does that mean? We'll talk about it a little bit later. And then not only that, within this mind consciousness, there's even more, right? It's called the ego consciousness. Ego means that you always think about I am this person. I have these particular things. I am the owner of the car, of the house, and so and everything. So this is the I. And within it, we have the deepest consciousness. We call the seed consciousness or the alaya vijnana. Remember last week we talked briefly about alaya vijnana. So you can see this little yellow guy is the alaya vijnana. So from the five consciousness, which is the one that we see all the time, and we have the mind, and then with the mind we have the ego. With the ego, with alaya consciousness. So these are basically the 8 consciousness that Yogācāra is talking about. So if you wonder, so what is this the end, right? Is the alaya vijnana, the alaya consciousness is the end? Well, I might guess maybe not. Let's say her little guy here. So what is it? We're going to talk. Oh, sorry, you cannot see. I'm going to talk a little bit about this little black guy. This is what we call the seed. These are the seeds that is stored inside this alaya vijnana that being carried forward to our next life, right? And then this alaya vijnana is actually covered by the ego, right? This ego, these actually belong to the subconsciousness that we cannot touch, we cannot reach. And what we can reach is only 2, the mind and the sensory consciousness. So these are the 2 that we work with all the time. So other than this, these are the subconscious mind that we have no way that we can reach them, but they have the influence and function all the time. All right. Okay, I'll put you aside first. Mr. Bodhidharma, thank you for the explanation. Okay, basically you got the idea, right? So what is it about? What are they doing? Right? Why do we need to separate the mind to 8 different sections or 8 different consciousnesses? What are the purpose? This is a very beautiful poem I found, just explain the interconnection about these 8 consciousnesses. Okay, there are 8 brothers, okay, or 8 sisters. The 8 brothers live under one roof, okay? The one roof is a body, right? Under one roof. One is sharp, one is dim. 5 brothers do business up front. The last one keeps tabs on everything. So these 4 lines explain everything we need to know about the 8 consciousness. Okay, let's look at them one line at a time. 8 brothers under one roof, okay? 8 brothers. You see, like the 5 one, I think you can identify them: the eye, the ears, the nose, the body, and the tongue. So these are 5 consciousness. And then we have the mind consciousness, we have the ego consciousness, and then we have the alaya consciousness. So 8 of them, they work together, right? They live under one roof. Means that the one roof means that our body, right? Ourself, yourself, myself, right? Everyone has their own individual consciousness. Right. Imagine these 8 brothers, they are doing business. Okay? So 5 of them, the 5 consciousness, the ear, the eye, the tongue, the body, and what else? Okay. I think the nose, right? They are doing business out there. They are yelling at people, right? Come on, buy this. It's in cheap sale and things like that. So they're doing business. This is the way they're doing the business, right? And then we have the guy watching, doing all recording. And then with this guy, it's called a subconscious. Crossing the door, we go into the subconscious mind. With this guy, the ego, keep yelling at them, do this, do that, make more money. I want to be successful. This is the ego mind. And don't forget this guy here. This guy here, what he's doing is quiet and dim. This is alaya brother. He's the one that is watching, but he doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything. All right. So, what are they doing exactly like it? So one is sharp, one is dim. So this lying man is talking about the subconsciousness. One is sharp, one is dim. Like the one is yelling all the time is called the ego consciousness, right? Ego consciousness means that this is the one that thinks that I am very important. I am beautiful. I want to be successful. So this is the I consciousness that couldn't be yelling. And the dim one is a quiet one. He is the one, he is like the owner of the whole business, but he stays at the top and doesn't talk anything. He's the highest CEO, but he doesn't actually do the job, right? He is the manager who does all the job. The manager is doing yelling all the time, but the CEO sits there with all the money, enjoy himself, right? This is exactly how the subconscious mind works in the Yogācāra point of view. All right, on the sharp, on the dim, right? These 2 belong to the subconscious. And the 5 brothers do business up front, right? This is clear. Our ear, our eyes, our nose, our tongue, our body get in touch with the outside world all the time, getting in all the information. There's like 5 people doing the information. They're getting all the information and the money. They do all the job, right? And the last one keeps tabs on everything. The last one means what? The mind. We call it the mind consciousness, right? But what the mind do is like a processor. It's a computer. It gets all the information and the money from the 5 guys doing a job there. And then he do all the calculations. Oh, what to do next, how to gain more profit, how to arrange my guys to work overtime, to squeeze out more time from them, to work more for me. So these are all the calculations and thoughts and things done by the mind consciousness. All right. Any questions so far? So this simple poem just explain what the 8 consciousness do to us. All right. Someone say something in the Manas is yelling. Alaya keeps tab. Well, Manas is yelling. You're right. Alaya keeps tab. No, the one keeping tab is the 6th consciousness. Okay, I'll explain this a little bit more. Yeah. All right. So what's next? Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. What are the first 5 brothers do? The eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, the nose consciousness, the tongue, and the body. Right? These are the very simple but passive receivers of sensual information. Okay, imagine them, right, as a hardware. That hardware that can see, they can hear, right? They have a receiver, they can talk, they have a speaker, they have nose, they can sense the smell, and then they have tongue, they can also tell you the taste, and they have the body, they can get the sensation. It's like a robot, right? So the first 5 brothers, they don't have language, right? They do not interpret anything. They don't even have thinking, right? They don't do they don't do judgment. They don't look at, let's say, these 5 things, right? They don't hear noises and then, oh, I like the noise, I like the music. right? This is different. If we talk about the ear is only a receiver. It gets the information, the vibration of the molecules in the air. It get a vibration, and then the vibration it transform into electrical signal and send to the brain. So the brain is the one that do the job of analyzing what they hear, whether we like it or not. So this is exactly the same as the explanation that comes from the brain science. They talk about how the cognition works. The five consciousness doesn't do any judgment. They don't even name things. Oh, let's say I see you on the screen, and oh, I know, I know this is so and so. I know this is Jopping. I know this is Sharon. But the eye that only see couldn't tell what is what. All right, only my mind, the sixth consciousness, like the mind consciousness, they get the information, the light signal, and then you can tell what it is. All right, and the more important thing is the five consciousness, the five brothers, they only live at the present. They don't know the past, they don't know the future, because they don't do any thinking. Remember, because they don't have any language. Right? This is exactly what it means by the five consciousness, right? Okay, what's next? The sixth brother. We talk about the sixth brother. The sixth is the one that does the thinking. That's why we call them mind consciousness. It is equal to the mind, what we call in today's language, right? The thinking consciousness, right? We always think about, oh, do you have a mind? When we want to scold somebody who doesn't do the job properly, do you have a mind, or do you mind? Right? The word mind actually refers to this sixth consciousness, the sixth brother, because what he does is thinking. It takes in all the information, right? Do the calculations, right? It takes in perceptions, emotions, deliberation, volition. That's what I decide to do based on information. So these are all the jobs of the sixth brother, the mind consciousness, right? What's special about the mind consciousness is it can recollect the past, anticipate the future, carrying out calculation and comparison, gathering and synthesizing everything or information. That's why in English we say that when we do something stupid, you're like, hey, oh, your mind, right? So the mind actually not referring to you as a person, the mind referring to your sixth consciousness, something that somehow before you did the action, your calculation was wrong. That's why you lost your mind, right? You're not rational. Maybe you're too carried away by, let's say you went to an LV shop in Paris, right? You went in like, oh my goodness. And then you just lost yourself. And when you come back with a few bags in your hand, you're like, oh my God, I just lost my mind. Why? Because your emotion of seeing those beautiful bags becomes so strong, it overcomes all your rational thinking. So the sixth brother takes care of emotions, decisions, and almost all the thoughts that we have in our mind. Right? So it's very important. That's why in early Buddhism, before we talk about, actually during the Buddha's time, the Buddha never talked about the subconscious mind. In early Buddhism, we only talk about the sixth consciousness up to this, the mind consciousness. But somehow in the scripture, the early scripture, it mentions that actually below the sixth mind, there must be something more subtle. Yeah. So actually during the Abhidharma time, Abhidharma is actually it started a few hundred years after the Buddha, after the Buddha became enlightened. It slowly developed in the Buddhist teachings that there must be some subtle minds below the sixth consciousness. But at that time, they think that the sixth is already enough to explain most of the experiences we have in life and also in meditation. Okay, so now we see the first six, right, consciousnesses, they form our conscious awareness because they are the most outskirt of ourselves, easily accessible, can be seen. So these are what we can regulate and reflect upon. When we think about our past mistakes, which mind are we using? Number 6, right? And we want to plan for tomorrow's work. What are we using? The 6. So the 6th one is always the one that we can regulate and we can reflect upon. Just remember that, right? Remember the very important phrase by Descartes, I think, therefore I am. What does that mean? Thinking. Which one is doing the thinking? The 6th mind, right? According to Yogācāra, the 6th mind is doing the thinking. He say that thinking, I think, therefore I am. So if we don't interpret this correctly, you might say, oh, because I have the 6th mind, then I am, then I become myself, then I exist. So this is why many people, I think even many Buddhists too, they think that the mind consciousness is ourself, is the I, is the big I, right? As long as I think, as long as I know what I'm thinking, then I must exist. So this is the I. This is the I that goes to reincarnation. This is the I that becomes the Buddha. This is the I that goes through all the suffering every day. The I itself. But in Yogācāra, this is not the case, right? The mind consciousness is not I. Why? Because the I doesn't exist at all. Okay? So in Yogācāra, they say that we need 2 more subconscious mind below the mind conscious. Why so? Why so? Okay, let's talk a bit about the cognitive process, right? So I believe this will very clearly give us a really good explanation about what is the 5 consciousness and the 6 consciousness. What do they do? We know that from neuroscience, we know that the brain, the left brain, the right brain, and the right brain, right? The left side do the analysis, like logic, idea, facts, math, and training. That's why for most of us who are right-handed, right, we are kind of better at analyzing things, good at logic, good at speech, facts, mathematics. But for people who are more artistic, right, they are usually what? Left-handed. Why? Because left hand connected to the right brain, right? So what does the right brain do? It takes care of creativity, intuition, arts, creation, feeling, imagination. Right? I'm not saying it's a hard fact, but in general, right, when you see someone who is like left-handed, very likely this one is also very artistic, right? Good at art, or good at expression, or good at telling you the emotions, very imaginative, right? So this can be seen from the 2 functions of the brain. Well, of course, the 2 brains are not separated. It is connected by a very thick bridge full of like, I don't know how many billions of fibers in between. There's a bridge that connects the 2 brains together. So no one's brain works halfway. Just imagine that, okay? Both brain works the same. Okay, so this is the funny thing, right? This is the fun thing begin. What happened was, I think there was once a neuroscientist. She herself was a scientist. She had a stroke. At that time, the left side of her brain stopped functioning. So what she experienced was, right? She looked at her hands. She couldn't tell her hand apart from, let's say, the laptop or the wall. She raised out her hand. She's like, what is this? It's just like a lot of energy, giving the sparks and flowery, very beautiful kind of like fireworks. And he couldn't tell whether that is her hand or that is a wall. She couldn't even tell whether this is called a hand. She don't know the name of this thing. So what happened? Because the left brain is what? The function of the left brain is to give the names, right? To give the names of everything. It's just like, but when the left brain stops functioning, right? It's just like the 5 consciousness, the I, they take in the information, the I take in the lights and send to the brain, send to the left brain. The left brain actually is like the 6, the mind consciousness, right? They tell you, oh, I see this light, this shape, or this person must be Bin. Okay, I can tell from a spectacles he's wearing, this must be him. So that is the job of the left brain. Or what we call the mind consciousness in Yogācāra. But when it breaks in the middle, you can imagine the six, like the part of it doesn't work because it couldn't name things anymore. So from her experience, she actually wrote a book afterwards. It's called My Stroke of Insight. She got a stroke and then she got an insight about how the mind works separately. So that was very interesting. And why I say it is because the theory clearly show us the different functions of the five consciousness and the six consciousness, right? The five consciousness is like the right brain, the right-hand side brain, only takes in information, but they don't have a name. So whatever they see, whatever we hear, before it reaches the sixth consciousness, like the mind consciousness, we have no idea what we hear, what we see. So remember that. So these are the different functions of the two consciousness. So they don't actually happen simultaneously, almost, but actually not. There's a little gap there. So this actually has a meaning in our daily practice, yeah, in meditation. I'll tell you afterwards. Just keep in mind that, right? How do we tackle this natural process and to use it to help us meditate? All right. So this is the cognitive process between the first five cognitions and the six cognitions. All right. The seventh brother. Seventh brother is a short name, just called manas. All right. Whatever it means, doesn't matter. Just call it manas. It's a Sanskrit term. So it is what? It's a fundamental meditation consciousness. It's the most fundamental thinking process, right? Thinking. Why is called thinking? Because the thing it thinks is very simple. You just think about the self all the time, the ego, the self all the time, right? You attach yourself to a notion of self. Of course, it has some functions overlapping with the mind consciousness. Like just now, someone asked, is the one doing the yelling the mind consciousness or what? Now I'm telling you, the one doing the yelling, right, not the calculation, is this seventh brother, the manas. Why? Because he always thinks for himself first, the selfish one, the ego, I am very important, right? So in Buddhism, when we talk about the manas, we always talk about the four root problems, like the afflictions. Afflictions means the non-purity of it. First one is ignorance. Why are we ignorant? Because we don't know what a self is. The manas always think this body, this mind is I. It's because it is I have to protect it. I have to make the best use out of it. Right? So it's ignorant. Attachment, it means that they believe that oneself exists, I exist, this is me, this is I. And pride, right? We believe that we are better, superior, or inferior to the others. Right? Attachment to self. We believe that oneself is lovable. Oh, right? We like to look in the mirror every morning, spend half an hour combing our hair, making our hair. These are things. This is what we cause by the manas. The manas love ourselves so much. We always think that I is the best person in the world. Okay? So this is what the job of the manas. Okay. And eight brothers, the innermost mind is called alaya vijnana, alaya consciousness. We call it the storage of all seeds, right? It is an uninterrupted retaining mind, and the same in okay. What does it mean by uninterrupted? Okay, that's why we want to talk about why do we need the alaya vijnana, right? Remember this guy, okay, Bodhidharma, welcome back. The five consciousness, the mind consciousness, right? They do all the thinking and calculation, and the ego mind, right? They always think that. So why don't we stop here? You know, why don't we stop here? Why do we need two extra minds beside, the thinking mind? The reason is like, remember the Yogācārins? What do they do all the time? Meditate, right? Meditation. You know that in the meditation, when you actually achieve certain level, when you achieve certain level, these five senses and the mind stop functioning. It stop working. I mean, your thinking mind, thinking about the past, the future, even the present, it stops. It stops for maybe 1 minute, 10 minutes, some even days and months, right? There were so many stories there were so many accounts in the Chinese Buddhism, especially Xu Yin Lao和尚. Maybe you heard of him, Xu Yin Lao和尚, right? He went every time he went to deep meditation, he went into samadhi, very deep concentration. He was gone from his body for 7 days, 10 days, a month. It wasn't there. Everybody comes and go and make noise and touch him and beat him. He has no response at all. But after 3 months, he come back. Okay, the problem is if our mind only stops here, right? There's no subconscious mind. What happens when this stop functioning? If it stops, how can it continue? When Xu Yin when he comes back, return to the world, how can he remember what happens before he went into deep meditation? Now, because of this, right? So these are the actual experience of so many Yogācāra or so many Buddhists in the past. So they know that they know from logic that there must be something more subtle than the mind. So that's why they come up with the ego mind and Alaya Vijnana, this yellow guy here. This is what is needed, because this is why you say like the Alaya Vijnana is the storage of all the seeds. It is uninterrupted retaining mind. It doesn't stop. Even when somebody go to deep concentration or somebody in coma, you fainted, even you die, right? Let's say we all have to die. When after we pass away, this mind stops, right? The body function stops, but the subconscious mind continues, right? Why do they continue? They have to. If not, then the theory of reincarnation in Buddhism doesn't work, right? For something to reincarnate, or somebody to go to the next life, we must have something that carries the memories, that carry all the karma. Karma is what we have done in our whole life to the next life, right? This black thing, karma, is stored inside the subconscious mind. So this is why in Yogācāra, we need to have the Alaya Vijnana and the manas, these two subconscious mind that can explain what happened when somebody died or fainted or did in meditation. Okay, so that's all. This is why I want to explain. All right, so the 8 brothers. Okay, oh, sorry, 1 hour ago. All right, so from here we can go to the theory of seeds. This is what comes next after we have the Alaya Vijnana. Okay, so what happened is, remember that we in the Alaya Vijnana, right? The 8 consciousness, there's a little guy, the black thing. What is the black thing? In Yogācāra, we call it seeds. Seeds is a metaphor, right? Why? Because from a seed, it can grow a tree, right? So everything comes from a seed. So in Yogācāra Buddhism, when we talk about karma, what is karma? Karma is something that we do, we say, or we think about. So there are 3 actions that we do all the time. Either we think about something. Let's say I'm thinking about, oh, I want to buy the purse, so pretty. And then action, I actually go to the shop, take out my credit card and I buy it, right? So there's an action of the body. And after that, I go and tell everybody, I bought an LV purse. I bought an LV purse. The speaking. So all these 3 actions actually leave an imprint. We call it karma. We call it karmic impression. Karmic impression means that it leaves some tracks, become like little seeds that you keep throwing in the storage of the Alaya Vijnana. All right, so this is the idea of the seeds. Everything we do, everything we say, everything we think, it has a trace, it leaves a trace behind and is stored in this storage. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so before we go into that, right? So what happened is, it explains how we experience our daily life. Have you heard some people say that it's really lucky for someone to win a lottery, right? I don't know about you, but I heard some some of my uncles that told me like stories, like similar stories. Oh, I know so and so. After he won the lottery, or I don't know how many millions, and then after a few years, like he got broke again. Why? Because so and so, right? Because he didn't know how to handle the money. He lived like very extravagant life. So he didn't know how to actually take care of such a wealth that he got overnight. Right. So for us, we think that, oh, of course, winning a lottery needs a lot of good fortune, right? Good fortune. But in Buddhism, fortune, we can explain by the seeds, right? That means that for this person to win a lottery, he must have very good seeds in his storage, right? In his life. He must have done a lot of donation. He might have done a lot of good deeds before. Right. This is one way of explaining, right? Why was he the one who won the lottery, but not me? Why not me, right? So in some Buddhist sutra, we say that it's because we didn't do enough donation. We didn't do enough good deeds. We don't have enough speeds, good speeds in our subconscious. That's why we didn't have a chance. So everything we experience actually comes from a state that we have in our mind. Even no matter if you're winning a lottery, or no matter even like if we get a very good job, or we get a very good pay, everything comes from what we did before. It must be a wholesome thing to have wholesome result. Okay, this is the very basic, logical assumptions, right? Because it makes karma works, right? Because in Buddhism, we talk about getting more and more good, accumulating more and more good karma. This is why at the end of the talk, we have to dedicate our merit. What is merit, right? Merit is a good karma, right? So good karma is this thing. It's either black or whatever color or white, but it's a seed. Every time we do dedication, so that is like putting a seed in the subconscious mind. The more we accumulate, so we can imagine the future we have some good results, right? So this is called the perfuming of seeds. Okay, let's look at this one, okay? Just take 1 minute for me to explain. Okay, we have the Alaya Vijnana, we can see here. Can you see my arrow? You do, right? Okay. The Alaya Vijnana here, this is the eight consciousness, right? The one we cannot see. This is a mind consciousness. This is the one that in our mind, right? We do thinking all the time. Okay, these are the seeds. All these little fire thing, right? Look, these are the seeds. Okay, let's imagine, right? Not today, right? Maybe some time ago, right? Let's say I use you as an example, right? Jobin, okay? Last week, Jobin saw a very beautiful girl, and then she like, oh, love at first sight. Okay, and that time, the love at first sight become a seed that went into his mind. So this is a seed, all right? Okay, he stored it, and then today, all right, this seed ripened because this seed is already there. So he went out to the street and he saw that girl again. Oh, because where does the girl come from? From Yogācāra point of view, it comes from his mind. Anyway, the seeds ripened. So he saw the girl. What happened? The first thought, oh, and then he remembers, oh, I like this girl. She's so charming, so lovable. Okay, his first thought, right, happens. What happened is the first thought goes back to the seed. What happened to the previous seed? Grows bigger. The love becomes stronger, right? And next week again, and then the seeds ripen again. Oh, he saw the girl again. He see the girl again. Oops, and the second thought, oh, I still like her after 2 weeks. I love getting stronger and stronger. And then it goes back again to the storage. This time, the seed becomes even larger, right? That is why we call love takes like a longer. The longer we love somebody, the stronger the attachment, the stronger the feelings, the sensations always come from time. That's why this is how it explains how the storage of the mind become like appear to be something we experience, and how our experience shape our future experience. Is it all right? Are you following? So this is a very important concept because it has everything to do with our practice. Either you are chanting mantra, either you are chanting the name of Guan Yin Pusa, either you are doing meditation. Everything we do to train our mind come from this explanation. How we train our seed become bigger and bigger. Not just love, okay? It's also about detachment from the thing. Also, from the other way, it also talks about how we hate somebody. The same thing. If every time we see the person, we um we repeat the same kind of hatred, I'm sure the next time you see him, your hatred will be double. So 10 times, it's 10 times stronger than the first time. So this is what is dangerous. Even if we have a negative thought in the beginning, if you're not careful and we keep it, run by autopilot, the hatred becomes stronger and stronger. The love becomes stronger and stronger. The attachment also becomes stronger and stronger. So this is how we understand how the mind works. Then we know how we can change our habit of hatred and loving. Okay? So at the end, after we know how the eight consciousness work, then we know that there's no such thing as luck in life. Don't say that, oh, he's so lucky, he got promoted, it's his job, but not me. Right? Because in Buddhism, we say that luck comes from all the seeds that we have accumulated. When the seeds ripen, when a condition is right? Condition means that all the you got 条件, right? Conditions means that the time, the location, the people, when it's right, your seed will right by itself. So that is luck. We always think, oh, it's so lucky. Why am I so unlucky? So there's no luck or unlucky. Unlucky or unlucky in Buddhist point of view. Everything is what we have accumulated. I hope this explains some of the misunderstanding we have in Buddhism. Okay, so what am I really, right? This is the question we asked in the beginning. And now we are sure that the I is nothing other than the eight consciousness that we just talked about. The I is actually thoughts. The I is a seed. The I is the ego. Everything combines together become the concept of I. So where does the concept of I come from? Because the ego mind. Remember, the ego consciousness. They keep saying that I want to be this, but he forgot he is only a part of the thought. It's nothing than a thought. So in Yogācāra, we explain that I is nothing than a continuous stream of thought that keeps going, that never stops until we achieve nirvana or we achieve enlightenment. So this is the I, right? This is not the I that we talk about the soul, right? Remember, in other religion, we talk about the soul that goes on living forever. In Buddhism, we don't have a soul. We have the eight consciousness. Okay? Okay, up to here, any question? Oh, okay.
Hi, Venerable, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to check. So just now you mentioned about the thought, right? Before it becomes a seed. So what can you do to change the seed that goes into the layer consciousness?
How do we change the seed?
So let's say if it's a good thought or bad thought. So good thought could be, for example, like Chopin were to say, oh, the girl is very nice. So instead of he keep thinking, so what can he do to change that thought then? So that the seed that goes in will be a good result.
What do you mean by good result?
Okay, the other way. A bad thought. Okay, let's say you see someone that you do not like.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you change that such that the seed that is planted is not a bad one and gets bigger?
That's a really good question. Yeah, this is exactly what we do especially when we want to have anger management. I'm not sure if you watched that movie before. Anger management, something to do with this. Whenever you feel your emotions of anger arises, at that time, it's about a thinking, right? You think about it. So you try to analyze, where is that anger come from? What is that exact character that you don't like about that person? Is it because the way he walks or she walks, the way they speak, the way they treat you, or just because of a look? And sometimes it's ridiculous. We don't like somebody because of the way they look. Right? So how do we change the seed about a dislikeness, right? I don't know about hatred, but dislikeness is whenever we feel like, oh, I see that person again. Remember that in our experience, we used to dislike them, but this time we catch that, oh, I know the emotion of dislikeness is coming up. Okay, let's stop now. Why do I feel awkward? Why do I feel uncomfortable? Try to analyze it. And when you find out, oh, just because somebody look and I feel I don't like them, then because of this rational analysis, you know what we have done is not right. At that moment, the feeling or the emotion of hatred or dislikeness will be reduced. When that happens, when that goes back to the seed will become smaller, right? The seed of hatred becomes smaller. And then the next time it appears again, you see the same person again. Of course, the same feeling still all right, but not as strong as before. And you keep doing that. Oh, he's not that bad, Like there must be somebody who think about him as a good person. Let's say his children. The children must love him. Why should I treat him this way? And the moment you think that, oh, your hatred becomes smaller and it goes back to the alaya and the seed becomes smaller again until it disappears. So this is why that's why somebody call it positive thinking, but I don't call it positive thinking. I call it rational thinking. Okay, if you want to love somebody more and more, every time you see him or her, you just keep thinking, how I love her, how I like him. Then you eventually have a lot of affection toward that person. And it also works the other way around. It's how we change our habitual thinking. So this is how we change the seed.
Would it be similar, let's say someone who does Buddha name chanting, so instead of a dislike of the person, then they will chant Amitofo. So similarly, it will change the result, right?
Yes, definitely. It will plant the name or that when you chant the name of the Buddha, not just a name. You have to imagine like the picture or how the Buddha look like, right? How the 西方极乐世界 looks like. So that is in the sutta itself. Yeah, you're planting the seed. Every time you chant a name, you think about the place. You're making the seed larger and larger until at the time when it ripes, then you'll be reborn in the 西方极乐世界. So it works. This is the explanation of why we want to chant the name of the Buddha. It plants in the mind, making the seed bigger and bigger until it becomes ripened easily.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I think there are 3 short comments on Zoom also. So I think first is one person asked, is 睡眠烦恼 equals to unconscious defilement?
睡眠烦恼 unconscious defilement. 睡眠 is a 烦恼, right? Is 烦恼 actually it still belongs to the 6th consciousness. Of course, the seed comes from the alaya, right? The alaya is our unconscious mind. It's a defilement seed come from but it appears in the 6th consciousness. That's why we have the suffering, the 烦恼. So if we call 睡眠烦恼, actually it is a type of the mental. We call it mental factors. We'll talk about it in the next lesson, I think. Mental factors. So 睡眠烦恼 is a type. It's one of the 51 types of mental factors. Or in today's psychological term, we call it emotions. It's one kind of emotion that happens in the 6th mind, not the unconscious mind. Because we are consciously aware of it. Right? We are aware of it. So that's why it's not in the unconscious mind.
Okay. Then there's a second question. Does everyone reincarnate when they die?
According to Buddhism, unless you achieve enlightenment, yes, we do.
Okay. And then finally, someone asked, even if it's a thought, does it have a seed as well?
Yes, a thought is also a seed. Yes, definitely. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's all from Zoom right now. Thank you.
Okay, let's continue. I think, wow, so these are the three seals of Dharma. So from the understanding of the eight consciousness, so we can go on to discuss about what is impermanence in Buddhism, what is selfless, and what is quiescence. Do you pronounce it quiescence? Okay, I hold it, yes. I'm not sure the pronunciation of nirvana. So these are the three seals of the Dharma. Why I'm putting here is that in order to understand the meaning of impermanent and selfless, right, and the nirvana, they're all being explained just now by the eight consciousness that we talk about. If we use the same logic to try to understand what is nirvana, what is selflessness, what is impermanence, then everything can be explained by the interconnections and the functions of the eight minds. That's why it's so important. It's such an important concept in Yogacara Buddhism. It explains all these important terms in Buddhism, right? We can go a little bit deeper into that when we have time, but just to let you know, yeah, this is the basic understanding of Yogacara Buddhism.
There is emerging evidence.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Now let's go to a little bit about the practice type. Yeah, of course. The reason why I'm talking about the eight consciousness is we talk about how we want to reduce or reduce the size or increase the size of the seeds in our alaya vijnana, right? So how to do that? Of course, we can do it in daily life. Whenever we have anger or love arises, we change our habit of thinking to make it bigger or smaller. That makes sense? But there's also a quicker way, but it's called meditation. Yeah, here comes the part. Meditation is a very quick way to try to reshape our way of thinking so that all the seeds in the alaya vijnana will be transformed either bigger or smaller or disappear. So that's why meditation plays such an important role in all kinds of practices in Buddhism. It is so meditation doesn't mean just sit there and doing nothing. We are training our mind to focus on the good thoughts, to retrain our mind so that our way of thinking become more positive, become more moral, morally correct, so that all that remains will be good. Of course, from the neuroscience point of view, I'm going to show you a little bit about what is the mindfulness meditation. Yeah, it's only about 2 minutes. Okay, let's take a look.
There is emerging evidence that mindfulness meditation causes changes in the structure and function of brain regions involved in the regulation of attention, emotion, and self-awareness. Functional MRI studies of the brain show that when someone is daydreaming or just not doing anything, our brains show consistent activity in certain regions. Some studies suggest as much as 45% of our time is spent daydreaming. These areas together are called the default mode network, or DMN. The interesting thing about the default mode network is that it involves parts of the brain responsible for thinking about yourself and rumination, areas which are correlated with some mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. One of the interesting brain areas making up the default mode network is the amygdala, the region of the brain largely responsible for the fight or flight response, and is seen to be more active when people are stressed. Just as the brain has a default mode network when we are daydreaming or not thinking about anything in particular, it has an opposite network of brain activity known as the task positive network, or TPN, that is active during attention demanding tasks. Only one network can be active at any one time. So in summary, the default mode network can be said to be a ruminative network. It directs our awareness to the past and future while largely ignoring the present. And while the DMN can be used responsibly for planning and organizing, we must be wary of the negative aspects of it. The task positive network can be said to be responsible for present moment awareness, being in the here and now. It is the action network. When the TPN is activated and we are in the present, there is no rumination, there is no worry, there is no past, there is no future, because the DMN is inactivated. And again, only one system can be active at any one time. By activating the TPN, we deactivate the DMN. So the next time you feel down, or ruminating on events of the past, or worrying about the future, remind yourself of the power of the task positive network, the TPN. All you have to do is bring attention, for example, to your breath, or a sound, or a sensation, such as the warmth of the sun on your skin. Then if you find that your mind wanders, as the DMN begins to take over, activate your TPN again by bringing your attention back to your breath.
Take up.
There is emerging evidence.
Okay. Sorry about the button. So that is exactly what we talk about meditation. What it does is actually activates the TPN, right? The task positive network. That means that we are back to the present and not ruminating about the past and the future. So the positive of it is actually suppress the amygdala. They make us less stressful, that make us more focused on our tasks, make our memory functions better, and make us more energetic, and even become even more compassionate. That's why meditation, the longer we do the meditation, we try to activate the mind to be here and now, to focus on our surroundings, to focus on our body, even just to focus on the breathing. They give us a sense of calmness, and by itself, it creates a kind of compassion towards others as well. So it's no surprise that if you see some very highly trained monks, maybe come from Tibet, right, or come from a forest monastery somewhere in Thailand. When you just get near to them, you feel the sense of calmness, the sense of compassion, like a kind of love that actually just spread out from their heart so strongly that you don't have to say a word. So that is how meditation can shape and change our mind and reduce our anxiety and all the kind of suffering. I mean, not all, but most of it that we are facing in today's society: anxiety, stress. So my conclusion is do mindfulness practice, right? This is what we want to do today. Now we're gonna do a little bit different today. We're gonna do on the mindfulness of bodily feelings. Just a little bit of a touch up. We talked about what was mindfulness last week, right? It's a meditation practice. Is to be aware of the body, our feelings, emotional states of mind, and natural phenomena, and be aware of present moments and understanding the reality as such. So these are the basic meaning, interpretation of mindfulness. Right. So being mindful simply means having good control over our attention. Right? We need attention. So being mindful means that we can place our attention wherever we want, and it stays there. And when we wanted to shift to something else, we can. We have total control. So that is mindfulness. All right. So now we're going to a little bit deeper into mindfulness. Actually, there are a few ways of doing mindfulness practices. It's a form of meditation. We start from the very first step, right? Last week, we did something on being mindful on the breathing. Remember how to know when we breathe in and we breathe out. So today, we're going to do another practice that will be fully aware of the states and actions of our body, right? No matter when we are walking, standing, either we are sitting or lying down. So what do we want to pay attention to is our bodily feelings when we are sitting. right? When we are walking, when we are standing, how do we feel about certain parts or certain sections of our body? There are three feelings, really. It's very simple. One is pleasant feeling. I like it. It's enjoyable. One is unpleasant feeling. Unpleasant feeling might be painful, suffering, right? Uneasiness. And neutral. Neutral means all right, not particularly pleasant and not particularly unpleasant, and just neutral. So basically, we want to analyze our feelings using these three terms: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Right? This is what we're going to do after that. Okay, let's start by doing a bit of stretching. Now, I want you to sit to the very tip of your chair, just like this. Can you hear the music? Is it loud? Very loud?
So clear.
Okay. Can you hear my voice? Okay, I think it works. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of yoga stretching. I don't want you to force yourself, right? Know our body, know our limit. This is the first step to try to feel our body from inside out, right? So what I'm going to do is we're going to turn our body about 180 degrees to the back. But I'm going to lead you, right? I know that we can turn right away, but let's do it one at a time. We have a sequence. First, know where we want to go. So our eyes turn, right? Turn our eyes until our eye cannot turn anymore. Then our neck turn. Until our neck cannot turn anymore, we turn our shoulders. And then when our shoulders go to the limit, and then we slowly turn our chest. And then all the way, we turn our waist until we go as far as we could. All right? Okay, let's do it together. I know many of us has already done it. Is it painful? No, don't stretch yourself, right? The thing is, do it very slowly to experience the strain we have on the back, on the neck, on the back, on the shoulders, right? Okay, you can put your hand like comfortably on your lap or on a chair as shown. Now we start by our eyes, go to the side, go to the left, and then our neck, shoulders slowly turn. We feel when our shoulders reach the maximum capacity, there's a little bit tightness on our shoulders. And then we keep turning, we turn our chest, and then we turn our waist. Try to go as far as we could. And when we reach there, without causing any pain, we just stop. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. And then we slowly come back the opposite direction. We turn our waist, our chest, our shoulders, then slowly turn our neck, and the eye, right, back to the center. Okay? So doing throughout the process, try to feel which part of your body that give you the strongest sensation. Is it painful? Is it strained? Or you feel nothing? Just name it. Now let's do the other side. To the right, our eye turn, our neck, and then it brings our shoulders, our chest, and the end, our waist. We slowly go to where we have to stop. Stop. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. And then we slowly come back, starting from the waist, chest, shoulders. Know exactly each step. And then slowly our neck, the eyes. Right? Know the sequence very clearly. Try to feel the body, which part that gives the strongest sensation. Now we do one more time. So do it using your own pace. The left. Pay attention to your bodily sensations. Know where to stop. Slowly come back. Now we go to the other direction. Knowing clearly where our body is, how it feels. Slowly come back. Learn to feel our body in a very slow motion. So when we come back, the center, take a few deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so we're going to repeat the same exercise we did last week, starting from body adjustment, the 7 sitting posture. So make sure we are sitting comfortably, both feet steadily on the ground, waist straight, chest drawn in, hands down on your legs, relax our shoulders, chin pull back, tongue relax, close your eyes. We can slowly move to the left and right to find the center of our body. Stop when we feel that is the most steady posture. Very slowly, and we move forward and backwards to find the center of gravity in our body. Once we found the center, we just stop and maintain the posture. We want to do a very quick body scanning from the top of our head, our forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, face, the ears, the neck, shoulders. Feel if every inch of our muscles is relaxed and comfortable. Pay attention to our neck, then move on to our arms, elbows, palms, fingers. The moment we put attention to them, the muscles will relax by itself. We don't need to force our body to relax. We just want our attention. The moment we pay attention to them, they will slowly relax themselves. We put our attention to our chest, belly, back, lower back, our thighs, shank, feet, toes, the mind is where the body is. Now we focus on the part of our body that has the strongest sensation. It might be a pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or even neutral. For example, if we have a little back pain, we focus on the spot of our back, which gives us the strongest sensation. Or we don't feel any pain today, and we focus on the spot and we name it pleasant feeling. Pleasant feeling. If it is painful, we name it unpleasant feeling. Unpleasant feeling. If we couldn't find any particular spot on the body that gives us a strong sensation, we just take our whole body as a whole and we name it neutral feeling. Neutral feeling. Our mind might be wandering away, might be thinking about the past or the future. Doesn't matter. just come back to the sensations of the body, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. We might even feel that if it is an unpleasant feeling, after a few moments, the feeling disappears and it becomes neutral feeling. It happens all the time. What we want to do is just to observe and do not change anything. If it's pleasant feeling, name it pleasant. Otherwise, name it unpleasant or neutral. That's all we do. Observing without interfering. Understand the sensations that come from our body all the time. Remember, every time our mind wanders away, it's okay. Just come back to what we are supposed to focus. Come back very gently. Pleasant feeling. Pleasant feeling. So now we put our attention back to our breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out very slowly. Three, two, one. So tell yourself to come back to our environment. You can slowly move our body sideways. Open your eyes when you're ready. Okay. Anyone still asleep? I hope both of us are back. Okay, I want to find out how was that mindfulness meditation to everyone. If you could find a sport. I mean, if you could follow my instructions and focus on the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling, can you type 1? If you don't know what's going on, fall asleep. Type 2, then I want to know how everybody's doing. If any difficulties, we can discuss. Interesting. What is 1 and 2? Shamin?
Feel sleeping today after a long day work because I woke up very, very early in the morning and long day work. So, but I can aware that, wow, I am kind of sleepy, and then I just come back. I can aware that I'm kind of drowsy, and then I just come back. And I also want to ask the question this. When you explained the left brain and right brain with the strokes ladies, that she got strokes on the left brain, is it by practicing meditations, it also help her to connect?
You mean what? By doing meditation, help us to reconnect the left and right brain?
Is it the...
I don't know. She didn't mention about that practice. I don't even think she was doing meditation at all. She's a brain scientist and she didn't mention meditation. Yeah, that's why I couldn't answer your question.
Okay.
So do you want to do a study on this to see if meditation could help?
Actually, I also got that book, but I did not really finish it. And then I will try to
okay.
Okay, thank you. Venerable.
Okay, yeah. You read it thoroughly, and if you find something interesting, you can share with us, yeah, to see the inside of strokes. No, stroke of insight or inside of strokes. Okay.
I will tell you next week.
Yeah. I don't know if she mentioned meditation, but this is really interesting findings that tells how the mind works so separately from different compartments. If you damage some of it, and actually has direct effect on other connections. This is like the most hands-on experiment that we have ever seen on the left and right brain. I know there's no other chances. Okay, why I was interested is because it kind of resonance with the explanation from Yogācāra, how the 6 consciousness engage with the 5 consciousness, how they're separate functions and how they can separate from each other. So this is a very interesting experiment from the scientific point of view to show how Yogācāra works in the actual world. So yeah, please continue reading. I'm sure you enjoy it. And 1 then became 2. All right, I agree with you, Nicole. You want to talk a little bit about it? Why it became 2? Because the music is very...
Maybe because I had a long day. So
okay.
I was sitting and then it was like a lullaby. Just got very drowsy.
Okay, next time I will change to some other music.
It's not, I think because today I went out and it was quite a long day for me. So
yeah, I understand that. Yes, this is our problem. Yeah, we have to have a long day. That's why, yeah, that's remind me, because many people ask me what's the best time to do meditation. I know some people like to do it in the morning, some like to do at night before going to bed. But for me, my own preference is the first thing I wake up in the morning, because that is what we do at the monastery too. Wake up maybe 4:30 or 5, then we could have even like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Sitting that time was the best time for me to focus without falling asleep, because you just got up, right? Yeah, but if you're...
I guess it's because also was having a dinner and all this thing. So the best time is maybe, I think what works well should be not so full stomach.
Exactly. Yes. So everyone has their own different habits. Just find a way that works for you.
Thank you.
Just keep trying. Yeah, keep trying, and you'll find the best time for you. the name or the title of the book on brain. Maybe Shamin can help us. I need to flip to the slide. I don't want to do that. So when you find it, type in the chat box. Yeah. So whoever it is, Samsung. And yeah, please. I'm sure Shamin can help you, right? The full title of the book. Or my stroke of insight, yes. Even the writer's name, do you remember? Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, I'm glad we finished that meditation. Okay, now the next thing is about, I want to talk about attention, right? I love these little phrases written by Susan Sontag, American writer. She said, it's about paying attention, right? It's all about taking in as much of what's out there as you can and not letting the excuses and the dearness of some of the obligations you soon be incurring narrow your lives. Attention is vitality. It connects you with others. It makes you eager. So stay eager. Talk about attention. So attention is what mindfulness meditation is all about. Put attention to where you want to put it, to have control of our attention. When we have control, that is mindful. Then we are becoming mindful, and that is meditation. Right? It's beautiful. It talks about, attention, but actually it's an essence of meditation. Yeah, this is the whole purpose. Pay attention to what we want to pay attention to. Of course, in Buddhist practice, you want to pay attention to what is a wholesome thing, the good things, good thoughts, things that benefit other people, right? Don't tell me that, oh, I want to pay attention to making a power plan, how to rob a bank, right? That's not a wholesome thing. Right? Never do it, right? That is prohibited from Buddhist point of view. So pay attention to is like doing the wholesome thing, like practicing meditation, doing the chanting of mantra. Pay attention to whatever you want to do. All right, this is something to do with exercise, right? It's very important. I think it's beautiful. By Hemingway, he say that you should be able to go into a room, and when you come out, know everything that you saw there. And not only that, if that room gave you any feeling, you should know exactly what it was that gave you the feeling. Beautiful, right? It talks about attention, it talks about mindfulness, being mindful, like go into a room or place or space, and to know which part, like what components in the room or the space that give us different feelings. Know the feelings. Is that simple? Right. This is the exercise you're going to do for this week. All right. Let's show you an example. Actually, I tried this in another lecture and another training course. And this is one of the results I got from a very interesting student. Okay. What she taught was a kitchen, right? So what I gave her was name 3 feelings. Pleasant feelings, use green. Unpleasant feelings, use red. And neutral feelings, use blue, right? And tell me a reason. Okay, so she say that, oh, I look at the stove, I feel happy because why? I enjoy cooking. So she circles a green on the stove. And she the joy, neutral, yeah. She doesn't like the exhaust fan. Why? It's horrible. What did she say? Noisy when it's turned on and difficult to clean. See, look at the simple kitchen. Not the whole part is enjoyable, but split them into different components and see which part give you what feelings. This is a little game that we can play to see, to realize what we feel about a room that we are so used to, a space that we're so used to. Okay, show another example. This is looking outside at a swimming pool. So you say that, well, look at the windows. She's green. She loves it. A feeling of joy. Why? Seeing a swimming pool is joy. And then the trees, she feels gratitude, right? You feel gratitude. Why? The presence of nature. And then the planters, pleasure, right? Because the well-managed and blossoms. And the last thing is the swimmers in red. Why? She feels envious. Right? She thinks that she'd rather be there swimming instead of sitting here doing work, watching people swimming. I mean, it can be creative. take a photo of your car, of your room, of your bedroom, of your kitchen. Even you take a world map, okay, and circle each part of the country, like Singapore. Which part of Singapore you like or you don't like? Just name a few, 2 or 3 that give you like certain feelings using different colors, right? And we can share this. I don't know if you can put it like a PDF like this or just a simple file. I know most of us are in a group in the WhatsApp group, right? If you are not, I don't know what to do. Please join the WeChat group, no, the WhatsApp group. And if you want to, I mean, I'm not forcing everyone to hand in this by volunteer. If you are willing to do, I'll be very happy because I'm sure this will be very eye-opening for many of us. Like sharing your experiences of a place that is familiar to you and talk about your feelings of pleasure, the pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feelings about the specific place. Right? You can be anonymous. You don't need to give me your name. Yeah, but it's always fine. You want to give me your name. So do it before our class next week, our class on Thursday. And the deadline will be by Wednesday night. Is that okay? Yeah. If I have received some, I will keep. And then I will, depends on how many, I can like spend about 10 minutes talking about it. If no one hand in, then, well, you miss a chance. All right. So this is homework for next week. Do sitting meditation, okay? 10 minutes a day, either in the morning or at night, and take a photo of your environment and identify areas that give you the feelings of pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. So the meditation that we're going to do is you can choose whether we're going to do the breathing meditation we did last week or the meditation on the bodily sensations, right? Remember the first step we do? Sitting correctly, posture, and then do a very quick scanning of the whole body. And then the third step is identify a spot on the body that gives you the strongest sensation and name it. Pleasant, pleasant, unpleasant, unpleasant. See if it changes. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I can guarantee you. The more you focus on the spot that gives you like a specific feeling, you can see it changes. So that is how our body giving us signals all the time. It's just waiting for us to notice. So we keep them attention. And this is how we train our mind to be more mindful about our bodies. Okay? All right. Jopin, I don't know if we could stop here. I think it's right on time. We can do the merit dedication, or we want to.
I think there are 2 questions on the.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we can share a few minutes talking about the questions.
Okay, so one question is by CGG to everyone. So he says he has 2 questions. First is, may I have an explanation of the 7th consciousness? And also he may hear some of his friends are trying to question on how reincarnation can be proven scientifically, kind of thing. So is there any good videos or articles that prove reincarnation?
Okay, I have a re-explanation of the 7 consciousness. May I have? Maybe we can talk about next week. If you have question about 7 consciousness, we can go a bit deeper. You want to have scientific proof. I don't know if we have any strong scientific proof at all. What we have is accounts on different traditions. We have from Tibetan tradition, we have the most, and then even Chinese tradition, we have some of them. But I don't know if anyone has succeeded in finding scientific proof on reincarnation. As far as I know, I haven't seen any. So yeah, try to search, but trust me, don't trust everything you see online. Most of them are, all right, you know what I mean? Fake. So for Buddhism, it's not very important. It's not very important to find the scientific proof for reincarnation. Reincarnation actually, we can use the reasoning. the logical reasoning to come to the conclusion of reincarnation. So yeah, I think that's all I want to touch on this this topic. Anything else?
Yeah, then there's a second question by Sharon. Venerable, could you please direct me to resources where I can learn more about formation of actions into seeds and how to create/change seeds into wholesome ones?
Oh, I thought we just talked about right just now, but maybe we didn't go deep enough. Direct me to resources. Okay, resources. You mean like an article, books? Okay. Oh yeah, in the WhatsApp group, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me copy this. I will find maybe something interesting. If I find something that it can help us to go a little bit deeper into this. Sure. Okay.
Then finally, I think there's a request to demonstrate standing meditation next week.
What? Anything? Yes.
Demonstrate standing
So
meditation.
you demonstrate standing meditation? Oh yeah, I think I mentioned last week, right? Okay, let's put it standing meditation. Okay, I'll put it in my notes so that I won't forget. You see? Attention is really important. Okay, I hope that's all for the question.
That's awesome.
Maybe, yeah, anything else? Or we should go to merit dedication.
You can go to merit dedication.
Okay, right. Let's welcome our most honorable, venerable Heng Shui to sing his merit dedication. Let's join our palms together. You can also dedicate to someone you love dearly, your friends, your family, when you read along the lines, so that everyone be free from suffering and be happy.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward, may all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Right. Thank you all tonight.